Hi, welcome to this presentation video on how to use the AcePos system to manage your clinic business. Okay, let's go into the actual system. This is AcePos version standard, which can be used for clinic. You go into the system. When you log in the system, he'll ask you for your user's name to verify that you are an authorized user. So enter your user's name and password, and you're in the system. The first thing to do to set up the system to enable e-invoicing is to go into the others under administrative tools, system setup, key in all these e-invoice required details for submission. Because once you have the system, the submission of the e-invoice to the LHDN server is fully automated. So you have to key in information like your company's name, what's your TIN, validate your TIN, make sure it's correct. That's a validation process, it's valid. Your business registration number, if you have SST, what's your SST registered number? If you are in the tourism trade, what is your tourism? Since you are in a clinic, you are not in tourism, so you leave this blank. What is the industry that you are in? There is a pop-up for this. It says, for example, what sort of industry are you actually in? So you can select for medical or medical, right? Since you're in the medical line. Then your contact person, email, address, and all these details you fill up, and then all these you can do a testing on a test server, or you can do an actual server. This is the actual LHDN e-invoice server. You can actually test the system using a so-called pre-production server. So these are the first thing you have to do to test, to set up the system. So apply, close. Once this setup are done, then you can actually go on to use the system for e-invoice. Now the first thing we have to do is to set up all the stock items. That means all the items that you sell, you have to put a stock code to it. Any type of charges, for example, in this case, I have one location, I have already some sample stock. You see, these are things that you sell. Maybe it's medicine, all kind of medicine that you issue after you have seen the patient. So you have to put all this into stock. So those that, some of them you may want to control stock, some you may not know. So it's up to you. You see, individual items can be set. For example, this particular item, if you are controlling stock, you can see here, you see, you have to key in all the medicine and products, what category it belong to analyze your sales and so on. So you have to create this first. What is the description? What is the standard selling price? If you are selling by box or by pack or by units, it's up to you. And then whether you want to control balance. Now some items may be very small, you don't want, or it's very cheap, low cost, you don't want to control balance, you just untick this one. Okay, this you can set. For those you want to control balance, every time you purchase this item, you have to punch in the purchases, and then when you actually prescribe it to the patient, it will deduct the stock for you, so you actually know your stock balance as well. This is how you control your stock for every item. Now besides stock, let's say you have doctor's fees, for example. See, you can also create. Now, so this particular one, you don't need to control. There's no balance. See, it's doctor fees. How much of fees? What sort of fees? These are things that is not stock, but is a type of charge. So any type of charge that you issue at your clinic, you have to create a code for it. So you may have other types of fees. So for this type of fee, it's not a stock item, but you can create all the thing, and there's no fixed standard selling price. Meaning that at the moment when you are issuing this product, this particular sales charge, he will ask you how much you want to charge for your doctor's fees. So that's the first thing to do. Set up all the items, all the prescription medicine fees that you charge at your clinic. You set them with all the codes first step in using this AcePos standard version. Now next, in this system, under this maintenance of VIP, you can create patients accounts, and we would suggest that you use their IC number as your account number. So for example, let's say this is 51011011234, for example. This is the IC number. So the name is, let's say, Miss Tan May, and then if it's not a business, there's no business registration number, you will be used. Okay, and then the address, type in the address. Okay, and person to contact. If it's the same person, of course it's done. And then their telephone number, best use a handphone, and then email address. These are the information you need. On page 2, you have things like IC number. So you can again use the IC number, key in the IC number, their date of birth and so on, all these details. Now, date join, date expire is only when you have membership. It's not required, just leave it blank. If it's professional, you don't want to put in, you can also leave it blank. Otherwise, you can use one of these, pop up and select, erase if you want to put in for analysis purposes. Otherwise, not necessary lah. And then on this side is an e-invoice detail. If you know that this patient will always ask for e-invoice, then you have to find out, ask them for their tax number and their, of course, their actual IC number lah. But if it's not necessary, you know that it's individual, they are not doing any claim, they don't need invoice, you can leave all this blank and just add in a new record. Now, if it is a patient who always asks for e-invoice, for example, I give an example, you can create an account like this. Let's say Elsie Tan, for example. You will have to fill up these tax numbers and all that. Alright, so that it will be easier when you submit their e-invoice. The system will automatically do the submission for them and send them an e-invoice actually. So you can validate their tax number. You can actually click and validate. System will tell you whether their tax number is valid or not. Okay, so you have to fill up for those patients that wants e-invoicing all the time. So what will happen if there's a new person who walks in and they are not having your details with them for the moment? You create a new account for them. You can actually create, and then later on they can fill up their own personal tax detail. There is a website that we provide that is linked to this AcePos system for them to actually fill up all their details. Now I'll show you how that is done in a later part of this video. Now this AcePos system has got a lot of other features, for example like promoters. These are people who work at your clinic. If they are doing, you want to relate your issue of the invoice, for example, to a particular person, you can consider them as promoters lah. Okay, but in this video we're not going to talk about all these because we are going to focus solely on the use for clinic. So you have got link accounts, the analysis of sales and so on. So the major thing would be actually setting up the patient's accounts and the stock items. And one thing we want to talk about is prescription. Now actually you can even use a system to print prescription lists. So for example, you have got prescription detail maintenance. That means you can classify one drop, one, and all this sort of stuff, you see. How many capsules, how many drops, all right. These are prescription details you can actually create. Why you can have all this is because you have something called a see, like dosage. You can have different type. You can create this one. You can have instructions. You can have indication. Why? Because of the prescription list. For example, inside here you can actually have a prescription template. So this is for, you know, when you prescribe medicine, you can actually print the template. So of course you have to link it to a laser printer. If you use special labels, you have to create and get printers to print the special label. So you can create, for example, a special prescription, and then you can say what is a UOM, or this is a tablet or form or whatever is a tablet. What is a dosage? You know, this is where you just now you set up. I was showing you just now, right? So you can say this time, every time you take is 1 tablet, 2 tablets or whatever, or half tablet. You know, you can create what's the frequency of taking, or 1 time, 3 times a day. Okay, what's the duration, 1 month, 1 day, or how many weeks? You can do all these. These are printed for prescription list. Okay, and then you can be for example, like the instruction 15 after meal, or after meal, before meal, and so on. So you can actually have all this, and then you can add. So now you have a new prescription list. So later when you want to print, you can print the prescription list. You can pick up all these prescription code that you already set ready, you see. So that's the purpose of this prescription, which you can use in your clinic. Now if you are controlling stock, those items, the medicine that you prescribe, then you have to do posting under here for purchases. That means stock items that you buy, you replenish at time, you actually have to do the posting if you are controlling stock lah. Remember earlier I was showing you the stock maintenance. You can say some things you control stock, some you don't. But if you have items that you control stock, then you have to do this posting whenever you buy things, which supplier supply to you, which location, what is the product that you're buying. You actually have to key in all this. Okay, what is the code? All right, this item, let's say, okay, purchase, how much you're buying. Okay, 10 boxes or 20 boxes, your purchase at what price, and so on. So you have to do this posting if you are doing stock control with your product, for only for items that you say you want to control stock lah. So maybe this one you bought, say 30 lotus, how much, and so on, and then you post. So this will help you control, manage your stock balance. Okay, whenever you do, when you prescribe the medicine to your customer, you will deduct, and then you will know your stock balance. Okay, once you have got all those things set up, now you can go into the actual post operation, which is the issue of bills. So you may have cash float. When you bring in cash float, when you start beginning of the day, this is for when if patient pays you by cash. So you can have a actual computer attached with a cash drawer, with a printer, with bill printer, and you have to put in the money into the cash drawer. So that is called cash input. So this is the actual operation. So if you have a patient record, of course you have to ask what is the patient's name. For example, this particular person came in, what is the product that you are, after your doctor have seen the patient and so on, you issue your drugs, okay, the medicine for them. So you can actually key in what is the medicine that you issued, what type of medicine you have issued to them, for example maybe this one, and then your doctor's fees. So we have doctor's fee, you can key in the code. For example, I created doctor fee as this code. How much is doctor fee? Because we didn't set a fixed price, so you can be okay, maybe the doctor is charging 80 ringgit today. Okay, enter. You can close off this password, or because every time you key in, you can say enter a password to make sure that the doctor is entering authorized to enter amount, or you can just take away the password. So this will be the total bill amount, and then ask whether it's paid by cash or card. You can have card, you can have cash. If you have card, you can enter. You see different type of cards. So maybe you pay by MasterCard, you can just use the last card number. Now you can also attach this system directly to a credit card machine, those that you see at the supermarket and so on, right? But you have to apply from specific banks under specific credit card machine suppliers now, because we can attach it to certain suppliers only now. Otherwise you have to develop software for that, you see. So that one we will recommend to you, right? If you want to attach it direct. If not, you can do it offline like this, and then press a button, and then the bill comes out. Okay, so the bill will come out. Now this bill can be in this small format, which is a 80 white paper, those you see in the hypermarket. You can use this sort of thing. Or if you feel this is not professional enough, you can have the bigger, using an A4 laser printer to print the bill. You can also do that. Okay, so this is the whole bill that will come out once a transaction is done. Now if a new patient comes in, has never have a record with you before, you can also straight away ask them to click inside here, add a new VIP, add a new VIP account, and then create a new account straight away, okay, using their IC number. Okay, so say let's say Mrs. Mr. Lau, and then you enter the rest of the details as what previously I've shown you, okay, and then you add in the account. Doctors see the patient and so on. Now we don't have patient record in this system because this is basically handling the billing and so on. So after that you pass the cashier will issue what is the prescription given to this person, how much is the charge, and then followed by doctor's fees. How much is the doctor fee? Doctor would have told you how much doctor fees charge. Let's say this is maybe 100, and then total up. Let's say you pay by cash, how much cash you gave. So let's say give you 210 cash, and then the bill will come out. So each bill will have a bill number and so on, all the details of the product. Now this is a new VIP that just came, a new patient. So you create a patient's record. Now let's say the last patient that came in says, I need an e-invoice. So it's upon request, right? Because your business is a business of consumer, so it's only upon request you need to provide the e-invoice. And so you do a pop-up here. Number 15 is request for e-invoice. So you use number 15, option 15, and then you find out which is the bill it's talking about. Let's say this is the last person, the new VIP just came in, the new patient. So it's 25. Now obviously we have didn't key in his team numbers and so on, right? Because we don't have his details, a new patient. So what happened is that we will print reprint the bill with a QR code. So they can go back, use their smartphone, scan this QR code, and then you will go to direct them to a site where they can enter all their personal details in that site using just this QR code itself. And subsequently, AcePos system will automatically submit the e-invoice on their behalf once these details have been keyed in. So customers scan in the QR code from a receipt. You will bring them to a site where the invoice number is displayed, and then they have to key in all their personal details which are required for the e-invoice submission. So in this case, it's choosing IC number, enter the IC number. Now for personal, that means not a business registration number. For NRIC, they may not have tax number, so you can leave a tax number blank. That is allowed. But for businesses, if it's a BRN, that means business registration number, they cannot leave it blank. They have to key in their tax number. Okay, let's say a regular patient came in, and this patient always asks for invoice, and inside there the account is already there. Okay, so today's visit, what was the medicine being prescribed? So the charges will be for the medicine. Let's say this was prescribed, and then the doctor's fees. Right, and then total, and you paid by credit card. Let's say by Visa, full amount. Enter the last 4 digits of the card, and the bill is settled. So this is bill number 26. Now this is a regular patient, and they want an e-invoice as well this round. So what you do is, because it's regular, so first we conclude the bill, and then under the pop-up, you request for e-invoice, okay, and use its bill number. Now you notice that the submission will be immediate. All right, the submission will be immediate. Now, if the internet line connection is good, LHDN server is able to verify, then straight away this e-invoice will be produced. If in the event, like in this example, for example, e-invoice not ready, so somewhere there's an internet connection issue or the LHDN server is not ready to validate the e-invoice, then this will be printed for them. They can scan this code later on and use that to download their e-invoice. Now, once the customer who has asked for e-invoice has keyed in all their personal details in the portal, when the system, AcePos system do the auto submission, later on, they will be able to see from their QR code. For example, this was number 31. Okay, when you scan the QR code, that person will be able to download their invoice, the e-invoice itself. So customer use back the same QR code, scan, and you can see if the e-invoice is ready, it'll ask you to download, and you can see the invoice. Now the e-invoice itself also have a QR code, so if you scan the QR code, then customer can see the details of that e-invoice that was submitted to the income tax server. So this will be what is being shown on your screen. Now, if you want to, if the person comes back to your clinic, for example, and you want to ask for their e-invoice, you can also print out from your system actually. So go to number 16, for example, this was 31. You see, you can actually produce an e-invoice for them if they choose not to go and download. Now, if there's any cancellation of bills required because the customer want to return some item and it's allowed, then under the pop-up here, cancellation is number 10. You can choose what is the bill number that you want to cancel. Now if this bill that you want to cancel, for example 31, has been already submitted as an e-invoice, then this cancellation will also be submitted as an e-refund note. If the invoice that you are cancelling has not been submitted earlier, then of course you will not go to submit this cancellation note. So let's say you cancel this one, confirm, yes, enter. See, system will submit the invoice for cancellation and becomes an e-refund note straight away. So you see, it will be cancelled and submitted at the same time because the original bill was already submitted as an e-invoice. So automatically you will resubmit as a cancellation, as a e-refund note. So if the customer were to scan this QR code on the e-refund note, this is what she will get. So okay, at the end of every day's operation, when the cashier exit the system, whoever is authorized to exit, the total cash received for the day, credit cards, payment, everything will be listed out in a report. So the cashier can use this to tally the cash in hand, credit cards, whatever that's been charged to the system. There will be a summary for the cashier and the manager to counter check. This is when you are closing the system for the day. So there are a lot of other options inside the AcePos standard system when you use it for the clinic. Of course, earlier I think I mentioned about the stock purchases. If you're controlling stocks with their quantity, so whenever you buy stock, you have to punch in the purchases. Then whenever a sale is done under post operation, the system will auto deduct the stock, so you will get reports on stock balances and so on. So next section, let's go on to the reports. You can see here there's a lot of reports. You have daily sales reports, for example, by products. You can specify how much the sales for the day. You can preview it, you can print out a report. You will go department by department depending on how you define your items, and the sales analysis will be by individual item as well. So you know each item, how much is the contribution of your income on a daily basis. So this is a daily sales report. Now there are a lot of other reports, for example, post-transaction. This is a detailed report of whatever transaction that has come up for the day. So actually it shows detail of every single transaction. All these are reports you can print out in a laser printer as a report or PDF form. Okay, so these are details of every bill that's been issued. All right, this is for audit lah, for checking. Then you have peak hour sales. It says from what date to what date, what are the usual time your customers come to your clinic, so you can know when to expect peak hours and so on. So we have got peak hour sales report. Now I don't want to go through all this detail because it take a very long time to show you that there are a lot of things. If you are having cashiers who work or people who are doing sales for you, the products, for example, you can actually analyze the products, you give them commission and so on. Okay, and then you can have payment analysis for the day. That means you can have, say, all you can actually have a analysis of what are the payment that you receive for a day, by cash, by card, what type of card that they use. These are for counter checking lah, on payment analysis. See, you have different type of cards. Now, one of the most important report is management report. Actually, in the management report, if you know a password for your course, you can actually go to different level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say it's level 1. If you preview the report, for example, it shows you the sales by departments. If you have set up department, for example, by suppliers, these are different suppliers. They tell you how much of quantity have you sold by different supplier product. Then if you go down one more level, level 2, for example, it will show you by department as well as category. So that depends on whether when you classify your product, do you actually classify by department or category or not. If you has, it will show you the subcategory. So how you use this category or how you department depends on you. What does department represent to you? What does category represent to you? Okay, if you go down to level 3, that means there's another level called groups. So then it is by department, product category, and group. If you have, like this example, we don't have anything on groups. Now level 4 is the very detail of every item that is being sold. Now this is a very important report. You can see every after item under each category, which are items you have sold, or even you have got, say, charges like doctor's fees, how much have you charged in total. It will show you a report. You see all these reports in total, so management will know where your income is coming from as far as this clinic business is concerned. Okay, level 5, you can see it goes by days of the week: Monday, Saturday, Tuesday. Where are your income coming from, which day? So this is like a daily analysis under management report. This is level 5. Level 6, if you have SST charges that you client, they actually analyzes day by day what is your total SST charges that you have collected from your customers. So this is level 6 management report. So you have other important reports like cancellation. If you provide each cashier or person who is operating the system to have a password to cancel, then you are authorizing only certain people who can cancel bill. So this report will show who are those authorized person and who are the ones who cancel the bill. You've got discount, who are the people who did discount, who gave discount if you authorize discount, and so on. See, so there are a lot of other reports. Now you also have a prescription record. Now in pharmacies, you know that for some products, you need to actually do a list of who are drugs that you issue to whom. So that's a prescription. So of course, for those you need the patient names and NIC and so on. So you have a prescription record as well. This is, I think, required by the Ministry of Health. They need to know, see, for certain drugs or poisons or non-poisons that you need to provide these prescription records. So this is also provided in the system. Now, there's also a summary report on the e-invoice submission for those, for example, this is done month by month. So it will show you for every invoice that there's been request from customers for e-invoice, what was the submission date, was it finally validated? If it's not validated, what's the reason why it failed to submit? So there will be reasons inside here. This is for counter checking and auditing for those invoices that you have submitted. Now, because yours is a business to consumer business, at the end of every month, which is at the starting of the next month, for those invoices that have not been submitted, not requested by customer, you actually have to produce a consolidated invoice. So you need to go here and do a consolidation. So the consolidation invoice is a summary of all other invoices which were not individually submitted as individual e-invoice, the total up into one invoice and submit that one single invoice, which is a summary of all those non-submitted invoices directly to the income tax server. So this is also already part of the options inside the system as well. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, this system can also help you to manage the stock. So there are a lot of stock reports inside here. So I'm going to look at one particular one, which is a stock balance. So you actually can have a balance report on all the stocks that is being left behind after your sales. So whenever there are sales, the system will minus the stock from your purchases and they will show you the stock balance. So this will help you to manage all your stock balances as well as part of the system. Now inside the system, you can also even print barcode labels, for example, some of your stock products using special paper, like A4 paper on a laser printer. It must be laser printer only sharp enough to scan. So we have actually prepared this in the software for those who are not having very high volume of barcodes. For some of medicine, for example, you can actually use A4 paper, special sticker papers that we sell, and actually print barcode labels out from there. Of course, if your volume of barcode printing is heavy, then you should buy a real actual barcode printing machine, and that will be a link integrated directly to your AcePos system as well to print the barcode labels. Now inside this system, there are also some simple reports on the purchases, last purchase analysis, for example, that you buy from each supplier and so on. Because if you are posting all your purchases inside the system, you can also analyze the purchases that you buy from each supplier. So you know in a year how much of business you are giving to your individual supplier. So this is also part of the reporting in the system itself. Okay, so basically I cover most of the important features of the system suitable for your clinic business.